guys. Well, it is Halloween morning. I am just having my coffee and I wanted to share with you for Flip Through Friday two of my magazine journals. They're both October issues of different magazines. So I started these maybe last fall, or it might have been the fall before. Just sort of started with covering up some ads in the magazines that were, I guess I would call them unsightly, especially in this one. And then I just kind of carried on with the project and kept adapting and changing and working in these magazines as though a little bit like a glue book, a little bit like a journal. So they're both very nice. I'm just gonna put a closer up view here. They're not done. I'm going to be working on them again next year and probably the year after. There's lots more that can be done in these, but I thought it'd be fun to do a little flip through for you. And we'll start with this one. She's pretty thick. This one is Mary Engelbrecht's Home Companion, which if any of you are, familiar with it, this magazine, it's no longer in print. But it is gorgeous. The papers are thick. I've always loved it. This issue is probably from around 2005 or 6 or 7, somewhere around there, early 2000s. And I've had these the whole time. I purchased these way back in those days as a real simple pleasure in life. They weren't cheap magazines, but they were lovely to have. So I couldn't part with them. And now I've sort of renewed this one anyway into a journal. So very festive for the fall. And I just added some fabric on the front. I glued on this palette paper of mine from a painting I'd worked on. And it sort of acts to kind of support the spine a little bit because it is getting a little bit thick. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, let's get into this little guy. And some of the pages, some things I've left the way that they are because, as I say, this magazine is so pretty that I'm just going to go a little bit closer maybe. Yeah, there we go. That, there was nothing else that had to be done kind of thing. So we'll just take a little look. I used some gesso, some paint, some pictures from other magazines. This ad for Hocus Pocus stationery, I just left pretty much. I mean, how perfect for October, right? And then just did some more stuff. So. And these are images from an old country living magazine, retro, I think early 1990s. And I just thought they fit in, sort of had a nice fall vibe up to them. And again, you'll see pages where there's lots of space to work in still. And, still deciding what I'm going to cover up and what I'm going to leave. And I used, I should mention, scrapbook paper that I had, sort of autumn themed. And so that sort of acts as a nice background to some of the pages. Yeah, these pages are nice and thick. And Mary Engelbrecht always featured a couple of different artists in each issue of her magazine, which were always really interesting to me. And so you'll see some of these pages that are left. This is an artist or artwork that was featured for this issue. And So I leave some of the article if I want to read it again, but definitely some of the images of the art, of the artist's work. I started adding a little bit of writing in the magazines. I haven't done much actual journaling in here. It is mostly, I've mostly just kind of focused on images, pictures, visual. So not as much of words or journaling inside. So that will come later, I think, maybe next year or the year after. This is going to be an ongoing an ongoing pleasure to work in for a few years, I think. And it's nice because I put them away, and then when I pull them out next October, they feel very, fresh again. See, I can either do collage on here. I can just add simply like maybe one image that I just love, and this makes a nice background. So yeah, still a lot more work to do. This is so pretty. I didn't do anything on these next few pages. It's just so beautiful. And honestly, they don't really make magazines like this very much anymore. Or if they do, they cost an arm and a leg. And they maybe, it's available once every 6 months or something. But this was a monthly magazine that was very superior in my opinion. Just right down to the paper, the photography. So they're just a real treasure. Cozy. These are all pins, like for sewing, for securing your fabrics and stuff. That is so pretty. Love that. Mine are all just sort of boring, but very orange page. See, this is another crafter that she had featured. These are adorable. And I often see things, it's funny because when I first bought this magazine, so long ago, I wasn't really into sewing. I didn't have the confidence, or actually probably the time to, excuse me, to sew. But, now at this stage of my life, I invested in a sewing machine in 2014, and I've been experimenting creatively, just with journals, adding material, as well as like making a few garments for myself, and also altering some of my clothes, and a lot of repair. So now, when I flip through now, I think, oh, this is so cute. Maybe I'll try to make that. So it's interesting how your you know, your interests change over a period of time, and so it gives you pause, like if you've invested in certain things, to maybe hang on to them for a bit, and you may renew an interest, or take a different point of view on something that you've been carrying with you for a while, whether it's a book, you know, or magazines like this. So just something I noticed. Oh, cuff here. And Mary Engelbrecht's illustrations were always featured in each issue, and again, just so endearing. I've always loved her illustrations. They're very sweet. Those are more of Mary's illustrations. Mary Engelbrecht. And here. So again, like I'll be adding something if I find the right thing. I just work very intuitively in these kind of journals, where I'll have an image that I've saved or cut out of another magazine, and I'll just go through a bunch, and if it really fits, I just know. And so I haven't found anything to fit here yet with these very sweet little illustrations. So maybe next year, but that's why you're seeing so many blank spots. I like to leave space until I find just the right thing. And I am experimenting a little bit with using markers, but I haven't used a lot of markers or drawing in this journal quite yet. And I do feel like I love this image, and I do feel like this needs like a little flying fairy, a little Halloween fairy or something. And that is it for this one. This palette paper has actually been quite good as far as keeping the spine strong. Okay, let's look at the next one. This one is a Country Living magazine. Oh, wait, did I grab the right one? Oh no, this is another home companion. Just a minute. Okay, I didn't work in this one at all this year. I worked in it last year. There was a different one I was going to show you. Okay, but anyway, we can take a look. It's another Mary Engelbrecht. So I think I worked on this one the year before last. This might have been the first one that I did. And this one, yeah, so you'll see a lot more blank pages in this one. I haven't done as much, so I'll just do this flip a little quicker. This one is so tricky. So see, this is a cutout, but I wanted to keep this. And it looks like the cat and the pumpkin are in the tree, kind of. Vintage Halloween noisemakers, I think they are. Which is kind of interesting. going to put here, I suppose. That would look nice. This is so sweet. I loved this, this whole spread with the children in their costumes. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So, so cute. And you know, in some ways I feel like Halloween is better in pictures than it is in real life. Like when I think back to when my kids were trick-or-treating, it was always just so hectic, and you know, someone would choose a costume and then they would end up not liking it, or you know, it just, and then trying to bundle them up for outside when it was really cold, but trying to sort of keep their costume, you know, visible. Oh my god. And all the excitement. It's more chaotic than like we're seeing these beautiful sweet images, which are just so fun to look at. So fun to look at. This was a little watercolor I did of my daughter's cats. She has 2 black cats, and I made them into little circus creatures. Little circus cats, but I mean, they are terribly, terribly done, but something about them is kind of sweet, so I had nowhere to put it. So I thought, oh, it would be perfect. Look, it just goes perfectly with all these little Halloween kids. So that's funny. Funny. And this girl just seemed like she belonged in a October magazine. She looks like she's ready to go to a very fun Halloween party. She just needs a witch's hat. She'll be all set. So, okay, I don't know what else I did in here. Let's just flip through real quick. There's Mary herself. This is her house. Once upon a time. I don't think this is the house she's in now. But Mary Englebright, she would often share her homes and her studios and places she lived. So cool. So pretty. I love that. There's her studio. The Halloween house. Yeah, I don't think I've really done much more in here as of yet. I think all I did here was just cover up a few things. Here's a little page I did some primer on and did some scribbling in, so that was kind of fun. I like the sound of it when it's got the gesso on it. It just sounds delicious. And then this page, I guess I did add this girl. And that's it for now on that one. I'm going to grab the other one for you. And so there is a third one. Be right back. All right. This is just a book cover that I added this fabric to and did the little cutout because I liked the cat. This was part of the cover. And I just tied in this magazine, so I'll probably take it out when I put everything away for the season, and I'll probably use this for something else, but I thought it was nice for holding this magazine for this time. I like the feel of it, you know, it's just kind of cozy. Okay, so we're in a much newer issue of Country Living. So this is a 2021 issue, and the pages are much thinner. So it's a little bit, once I put some, you know, images on and gesso and stuff, it's fine. But there's quite a big difference between this one and the Mary Englebright magazines. But I've done quite a bit. I worked in this one this year, so there's a little more done here. Take a look. Did some, I just gessoed over and did some journaling here. And I did some October quotes. Where are my glasses? I don't have them on. I was gonna hear that. Crinkling angels' wings in the shape of drying leaves flutter to our feet. Tread gently among them, and they will protect you for life. But yeah, I just did some October quotes from some other writers and just made up a few of my own. Excuse me, I have to take a sip of coffee before it gets cold. It's only my second cup, so I am in need. That. Wouldn't you like to have a ceiling like that in your kitchen? This is not the kitchen ceiling, but it appears to be the way I put it in, and I love that. That would be so cool. Dig into that. That is a butternut squash pie. I've never made one. It looks so good though. Love this. This spread is just really great. Really great ideas. Oh, it's not this page. A little fairy pumpkin houses. Cute. So if you don't feel like carving, right? I didn't carve this year. I painted mine. It's probably going to all come off in the rain. All the paint, I mean. So yeah, lots more to do in this one as well. This was in the magazine, and then I just added a page from an art book. We have a color wheel, and why not have that in an autumn magazine journal, right? And this is an ad for some sort of plumbing ad, copper wires or copper piping or something. Anyway, I thought it was really kind of interesting. Almost like steampunkish. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Am I going to do some writing? Am I going to add some more images to it? Will I write? I don't know, but it's just fascinating, I find, as far as finding, beauty in what might be considered ugly. It's just a really interesting picture. And just the start of a collage. Oh, this is so pretty. So where you see like these big pieces of full page scrapbook paper, those were really ugly, unsightly pages of pure ads. So that's why those are on there. And they're just a base. So I will carry on that. The back page and the back cover of this. Okay, so those are my October magazine journals. I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and have a really nice Halloween. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.